Phoenix Suns star point guard Chris Paul injured his left groin on this play in Game 2 yesterday. I'm your host, Dr. Nav Badesha, and today we're going to be discussing the biomechanics, anatomy, and how long Chris Paul might be out with this injury. Before we get started, consider smashing that subscribe button, especially if you love sports and if you're interested in learning more about the medical side of sports injuries. Let's jump straight into it. So you're going to see Chris Paul try to box out KCP here. You'll see KCP push Chris Paul to the left. As he does that, I want you to keep an eye on Chris Paul's left leg. Notice his right leg is still up in the air and CP3 is getting bumped and he's hopping on that left leg. Now, I'm going to pause as we see Chris Paul plant that left foot here. His left foot is externally rotated, facing outward, and his hip is abducted away from the body. He's going to try and jump up to get the rebound with his foot externally rotated and his hip in abduction. He puts that right foot on the floor finally, and you'll see as he initiates trying to jump up, the majority of the weight is him pushing off of that left leg as he prepares to jump up and get that rebound. You'll see almost right as he goes up, and definitely before he comes down, he's already grabbing that adductor muscle. The greatest eccentric tension or tension from a stretch is placed on the adductor complex when the leg is in external rotation and the hip is in abduction. As he initiates trying to jump up, pushing off of that left leg, exactly like we saw on this play. This is pathognomonic, and it's one of the most common ways that this groin injury or adductor muscle injury occurs. So let's go ahead and take a look at the anatomy. Here's the backside with the left adductor muscle highlighted. On the right side, I've left the hamstring muscles, and on the left, they've been removed. We get to see just how large the adductor or groin muscle is. Notice it inserts on the medial part of the knee, and up top, notice the muscle inserts on the left ischium, and it actually goes all the way up to the anterior aspect of the body of the pubis. So there's three main motions that this muscle helps with. You have hip extension, pictured here. You have hip adduction, which is pulling the hip inward towards the center of the body. And lastly, hip extension, which is pushing the leg backwards. An adductor strain has a 3-tier classification system. You have a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3. And unfortunately, the healing times for this type of injury aren't very short. A grade 1 can take anywhere from 7 to 10 days, which by the sounds of CP3's first MRI, it appears this is what we're looking at. Reports from today say he may miss games 3, 4, and 5. And bear in mind, rushing him back puts him at a higher risk of re-injury. That in the combination with CP3's age means there is somewhat of a likelihood that he could miss more than just these 3 games. If this were a grade 2, you would see a loss of strength along with a loss of range of motion, and at that point he would quite possibly miss the rest of the playoffs. It does not appear like the injury is a grade 2 at this point. Come out firing in this series with a 2-0 lead, and I'm not too sure how many wins the Phoenix Suns are going to be able to squeeze out with CP3 off the floor, so let's go ahead and wish him a speedy recovery. Hope you guys learned something new today. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Comment below, let me know some questions you might have, or if you want me to cover any injuries that you've seen recently. All right, guys, peace.